What's up, guys? Clayford08 here, and today I wanted to discuss a question that many of my friends and family keep asking me. And in fact, I was just having a conversation with one of my coworkers about this yesterday. Whoa, sorry about that. Um, so, where does the money come from with blockchain technology? Like, what gives blockchain technology its intrinsic value? Why do people pay for it? And to answer that, you really have to understand what blockchain technology is. So, for me to be able to explain to you on a business side where it gets its value, you have to understand what blockchain technology is, and there are plenty of avenues for you to do your research on that. And I'm sure I'll do a video eventually trying to explain exactly what each blockchain does and how it works. But today I wanted to go over why my dogs are jumping off the couch. Today I wanted to go over why blockchains have their value. So let's start off with Bitcoin. Now, I've said many times that Bitcoin is a store of value, and a lot of people around the world are actually using it as a currency. Many developing countries are using it for their advantage because they can't get money from the banks in their specific country. So it's doing really great things for them, but the fact that it was the first makes it the most recognized, and so it's getting value from the fact that it has the most infrastructure built around it. People have created tons of wallets, tons of means to use it on stores online and things like that. You can go find Bitcoin ATMs, so it derives its value from the fact that it has the largest infrastructure built around it. It also has been the most talked about for years. But the technology behind Bitcoin and the fact that it was state-of-the-art at the time when it was developed is what generates its value. We had nothing like it at the time when it was created. And to be able to exchange money with somebody in almost an instant with it being decentralized, banks not being able to touch that money and not be able to tax it on purchases and things like that. That's where it derived its original form, and that's where the money was coming from. And a lot of people talk about how money laundering had a lot to do with it and illegal activity had a lot to do with it, and it did for a while, and I'm sure people still use it for that, but a lot of other people, like I talked about, in developing countries are using it for its real purpose. So I think that's incredible, and I think that eventually we're going to see more people using it for its original purpose. Obviously now it's a lot slower and transactions are backed up, so it's more of a store of value like I was talking about earlier. But think of Bitcoin like a side currency, a global currency that anybody can place money into, and whenever their home currency, their country's currency starts dipping, they buy into Bitcoin because Bitcoin usually goes up in value, whereas most other world currencies go down. You take a look at the US dollar and it's dipping, and it has been for the past 40 years, but not Bitcoin. Bitcoin, ever since its inception, has been going up in value. And that's where its value comes from, the fact that it has steady growth. along with its technology. It is the most secure network in the world. And with security comes money. People put their money into something that's secure. People want security around their money. Those two go hand in hand. So that's where Bitcoin gets its value. Now, whenever we start talking about other blockchains like Ethereum, that's a whole different ballgame. Ethereum gets its value in the fact that developers can create decentralized applications and smart contracts on the blockchain. Right now, we're seeing so much growth in Ethereum because of all these ICOs that are coming out. And I don't necessarily agree with ICOs, but it is driving up the value of Ethereum. Developers creating their own tokens are using Ethereum's blockchain to create smart contracts for those ICOs. And that's driving up the value of Ethereum. And people might say that, oh, that's just a Ponzi scheme because you're just putting money from one token to another. But that's not really the case. With these ICOs, there are actually some really great projects coming from this. Like, I did a video on Singular DTV, and I really, really believe in that project. I think it's going to be huge. I think we should decentralize the entertainment industry. Because right now, all of the cable companies and all of these entertainment companies, they just make way too much money. And the real artists behind this don't make enough money, especially like the indie artists that I sometimes like to listen to personally. Like those guys don't make enough money, and they deserve to get paid what they're owed, but instead everybody else wants to take their cut. So that is where Ethereum comes in. Projects like that can create ICOs on smart contracts, and that's just one method of a smart contract. Like, there are tons of other things that you could use smart contracts for. Businesses could be using smart contracts to pay their employees. Legal matters could be taken care of on smart contracts. So that is where the value comes from things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's the technology behind it. It's not a Ponzi scheme. Imagine if you were to go and put money into the stock market for Amazon. What exactly are you paying for whenever you buy that share in stock of Amazon? You're paying for the idea that Amazon, an online store, is going to go up in value. You're paying for that technology. Because at the end of the day, all Amazon is an online store. And yes, eventually they're going to have these stores that you can go to, that you can go and pick out food and leave without having to go to a cash register. And that's all fine and dandy, but you're still paying for the idea in that stock. It's the same thing whenever you purchase an Ethereum token or a Bitcoin. It's the same exact thing. It's not a Ponzi scheme. I hope that this cleared up a little bit of where the money comes from and why people are paying for it. So hopefully some of you guys that are watching this are brand new to the idea of cryptocurrencies and are a little bit more informed now and are not as scared as to putting your money into the market. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments section. I always appreciate y'all's likes and subscribes, and I'll be sure to post this on Steemit as well, so that some of you guys on that blog can get an idea of this as well. That's it for this morning. Clayford08 out.